Hi guys, so let's review the principle of superposition. Principle of superposition is just a fancy way of describing when waves will interfere with one another. Also say hi to Pretzel. Cute, right? Okay, so I'm looking again at the wave maker thing that you guys did. So right now I have two pulses that look the same. If I send both pulses, I see that they will interfere in some way when they meet in the middle. Now if I pick two different shapes, what I should see is that the waves will pass through each other. So as long as the waves are in the same medium, and in this case they're on this, we'll just call it a rope or a string. When they're on the same medium, the waves won't reflect or bounce off of each other. They will interfere with one another, and they will pass through each other. So now let's do show grid and show individual pulses just so we can see. And again, I'm going to go back to, so the pulses are the same shape, same type of shape. And what I see is essentially that these are both crests, right? They're both that upward shape of the wave. When I send them together, I will see, and this is a little bit off, but I will see that they're still the two individual wave pulses. But what we're experiencing is this extra large pulse that's a combination of the two. So this is constructive interference. When the two waves, the crests and the crests line up. This can also happen, so let's clear this, if I do two troughs. If I send those two pulses, so the same thing happens. The two troughs will create a bigger wave because they're lining up on the same side, right? So the two troughs line up or two crests line up. I will get constructive interference. And we can find, so let's turn this off for a second. Cool. We can find the size of the combined wave simply by adding the amplitudes of both waves. So I'll let that continue. And I can do this with any kind of weird shape I want, right? So I could send these two, super strange, and sometimes crests will line up and sometimes troughs will line up. So let's look at if I send the exact opposite style shape. So I have one that's just a crest and one that's just a trough. And when I send those, let's see if I can get it. When they are completely overlapping, just like that, the waves cancel. So what we would see is essentially no wave, and this is destructive interference. So the crest of one wave lined up with the trough of another wave, and we get nothing, right? The waves cancel. But again, we can find that instead of adding the amplitudes, we simply subtracted them because one was going upwards and one was going downwards. So we're essentially always adding the displacements, and direction matters. So this brings us to something called standing waves. Standing waves are the result of constructive and destructive interference. And you've probably made a standing wave before when you've played jump rope or anything like that. So here I have a little video. Let's see if we can get it to play. No, there we go. And what you'll see is that, so the string is attached to what's called a frequency generator. And it creates waves through the string, and they repeat on themselves in such a way that all of the places of crests line up, and then there's places where crests and troughs line up, and you get this pattern, this wave pattern, where it looks like in some places the wave isn't moving at all, and in some places you get this huge up and down movement, so almost like those blurry areas. So here's it just in slow motion. So we talk about standing waves, and we call them standing waves because they appear to be standing still in the left to right motion. So they don't look like they're moving this way. They only look like they're moving this way. So they're standing in place, standing in place. So when we talk about standing waves, there's two positions that we will most often refer to. There is the node, and I emphasize that because it is no displacement, so it's the points of complete destructive interference, and they're those points that appear not to be moving at all. And then the antinode, and these are the maximum displacements that are happening, so they're the points of complete constructive interference. So it's the largest amplitude of the standing wave. So here I have two videos. I'll include the links for both of these because they're both pretty cool. So in the first one, this guy right here, there is a Rubens tube. And a Rubens tube is kind of an experimental setup. You have a tube, and in the top you've created all these tiny little holes. So you just put holes in the top of the tube, and then you send a flammable gas through the tube, and then you light it on fire. And then you can send music through the tube, and the vibrations of the gas will show the standing waves, or the waves of the sound that are being created. So this one is just a song set to Rubens tube. And this one's cool too. It's the same idea, it's just they've taken this tube idea and then created like a flat plane with it. So again, I will post both of those just because they're super awesome, and you should definitely watch this one if nothing else. And then with standing waves, there's actually applications in like pharmaceuticals and just anywhere you want to manipulate materials that are super tiny and that you don't really want touched by human hands. So I'll also post this video so that you guys can see that. It's just really cool. It's not, there's no explanation or anything like that, just cool to see. So to further explore standing waves, you guys will go through a exploration. I'm going to show you a little bit first. So when you go to the link for standing waves, you'll see something like this. And it'll list something called a harmonic. So the reason that they're called harmonics has to do with the role that they play in music. So really any type of instrument relies on harmonics because it's the best sound that you can get. And so waves on a string would be guitars, violins, any of your string instruments. An open-ended air column, so I'll just show you what that looks like really quick. That could be probably like an organ. So, you know, piano, the organs are just like these huge things in church. And then a closed-end air column, let's go here, would look like this. And this might be like a flute or a trombone or anything where there's one exit point for the air, for what you're vibrating to create the sound. And so when we have waves on a string, so if I go back to first harmonic, let's look at just the transverse waveform first, so I can click off Show Longitudinal Wave. And it would look something like this. And so what I would mark is that this particular wave has one antinode, see, one position of maximum displacement, and two nodes. If I switch to the longitudinal wave, that is happening as well. It's just a little bit harder to see. Right, so you notice you have the most displacement of the material in this center space here, and the places of like the most compression over here. Okay, so you guys are going to work through a document in which you identify the different harmonics and then determine a relationship between the harmonic number and the number of nodes and antinodes. So I'll leave you guys to it. Have fun!